And we begin with developing story. The Fresno County District Attorney passionately addressing two issues related to the Fresno City Council. And tonight she's calling for major changes at Fresno City Hall. Our Liv Johnson caught up with DA Lisa Smitkamp and brings us both sides of the story. Liv.
Well, the DA's office stated they will not be pursuing charges against city council members for violations of the Brown Act or alleged overspending on PPE by some members of the city council. But Smitkamp says there is a conflict of interest at play and it's high time for some major changes.
Sometimes things happen in reality that can't be proved in a court.
Fresno County District Attorney Lisa Smitkamp explaining her office's decision to not pursue charges against City Council member Esmeralda Soria, who was accused of violating the Brown Act by asking 3 other City Council members to meet in a closed session to find out if, quote, a deal had been reached regarding Granite Park in Fresno. The Brown Act requires local government business to be conducted publicly, but it's open to interpretation. Smitkamp says the City Council members involved were not cooperative.
And we do our very best, but when we come in and we try to investigate and people will not cooperate with us and they will not provide us information, it's hard for us to be able to make cases.
I caught up with Council member Esmeralda Soria to ask her about the investigation.
I am super just excited to be able to continue doing the work and not get distracted really with faithless allegations that have been consistently made.
Smitkamp says it's very difficult to reach the threshold of evidence needed to prosecute unless a certain level of cooperation is met. Smitkamp saying the accusations didn't meet criteria for a prosecution to go forward.
The only time it reaches a level of a criminal action is if we can prove that there's been a conflict of interest. And when you don't have people who will cooperate in investigations, it's very hard to prove that. It's almost impossible.
The DA's office also investigated an allegation regarding the purchase of personal protective equipment by city council members that exceeded the amount of money they're able to spend without a competitive process.
There was an over expenditure by one council person.
According to Smitkamp, city authorities knew about the purchases and did not take disciplinary action. She says that's due to the fact that a pandemic was raging and there was a scramble for masks. But in light of the pandemic, it would be nearly impossible to get a jury to convict for the excessive expenditure. Smitkamp saying much of the issue is the attorney for the city of Fresno is hired by the city council, which represents an inherent conflict of interest.
When you are employed by that person, right, it's a conflict of interest to then have, I mean, it's not workable, right? So they would have to prosecute their boss, basically, and that is not appropriate.
And KC has just learned that an attorney for the nonprofit organization operating Granite Park has issued a statement saying he will refer District Attorney Smitkamp to the State Attorney General's office for what he calls, quote, improprieties in the office's investigation into her handling the investigation into Granite Park in Fresno. Live in studio, I'm Liv Johnson, KC24, local news that matters.
Thank you, Liv.